The First of Chronicles. Chapter 1. Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabteka. The sons of Raamah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush became father to Nimrod. He was the first to become a mighty one on the earth. Mizraim became father to Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorim. Canaan became father to Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, as well as the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Arkite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. The sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram, and Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became father to Shelah, and Shelah became father to Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. The name of the one was Peleg, because in his lifetime the earth was divided. The name of his brother was Joktan. Joktan became father to Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All of these were the sons of Joktan. Shem, Arpachshad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, Abram, that is, Abraham. The sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. These are their family origins. Ishmael's firstborn, Nebaioth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael. The sons that Keturah, Abraham's concubine, gave birth to were Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. The sons of Jokshan were Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Aldeah. All of these were the sons of Keturah. Abraham became father to Isaac. The sons of Isaac were Esau and Israel. The sons of Esau were Eliphaz, Ruel, Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, Kenaz, Timnah, and Amalek. The sons of Ruel were Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. The sons of Seir were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. The sons of Lotan were Horai and Homam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. The sons of Shobal were Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. The sons of Zibeon were Aiah and Anah. The son of Anah was Dishon. The sons of Dishon were Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Kiran. The sons of Ezer were Bilhan, Zaavan, and Achan. The sons of Dishan were Uz and Aran. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela the son of Beor. The name of his city was Dinhabah. When Bela died, Jobab the son of Zerah from Basra began to reign in his place. When Jobab died, Husham from the land of the Temanites began to reign in his place. When Husham died, Hadad the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the territory of Moab, began to reign in his place. The name of his city was Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah began to reign in his place. When Samlah died, Shael from Rehoboth by the river began to reign in his place. When Shael died, Baal-Hanan the son of Akbor began to reign in his place. When Baal-Hanan died, Hadad began to reign in his place. The name of his city was Peu, and the name of his wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Then Hadad died. The sheiks of Edom were Sheik Timnah, Sheik Alvah, Sheik Jetheth, Sheik Aholibamah, Sheik Elah, Sheik Pinon, Sheik Kenaz, Sheik Teman, Sheik Mibzar, Sheik Magdiel, Sheik Iram. These were the sheiks of Edom. Chapter 2. These were the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah were Onan, and Shelah. These three were born to him from Shua's daughter, the Canaanitess. But Judah's firstborn, was displeasing to Jehovah, so he put him to death. Tamar, Judah's daughter-in-law, bore to him Perez and Zerah. Judah had 5 sons in all. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Zerah were Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Dara. There were 5 of them in all. The son of Carmi was Achar, who brought disaster on Israel, who was unfaithful with regard to what had been devoted to destruction. The son of Ethan was Azariah. The sons of Hezron who were born to him were Jerahmeel, Ram, and Kelubai. Ram became father to Amminadab. Amminadab became father to Nahshon, the chieftain of the descendants of Judah. Nahshon became father to Salma. Salma became father to Boaz. Boaz became father to Obed. Obed became father to Jesse. Jesse became father to his firstborn Eliab, Abinadab the second, Shimeah the third, Nathanael the fourth, Radai the fifth, Ozem the sixth, and David the seventh. Their sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail. The sons of Zeruiah were Abishai, Joab, and Asahel, 3. Abigail gave birth to Amasa, and the father of Amasa was Jether the Ishmaelite. Caleb the son of Hezron became father to sons by his wife Azubah and by Jerioth, and these were her sons, Jesher, Shobab, and Ardon. When Azubah died, Caleb married Ephrath, and she bore Hur to him. Hur became father to Uri. Uri became father to Bezalel. Afterward, Hezron had relations with the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilead. He married her when he was 60 years old, and she bore Segub to him. Segub became father to Jair, who had 23 cities in the land of Gilead. Later, Gesher and Syria took Haboth-Jair from them, along with Kenath and its dependent towns, 60 cities. All of these were the descendants of Machir, the father of Gilead. After the death of Hezron in Caleb-Ephrathah, Abijah, the wife of Hezron, bore him Ashur, the father of Tekoa. The sons of Jerahmeel, the firstborn of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, Bunah, Oren, Ozem, and Ahijah. Jerahmeel had another wife, whose name was Atterah. She was the mother of Onam. The sons of Ram, the firstborn of Jerahmeel, were Maaz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onam were Shammai and Jada. The sons of Shammai were Nadab and Abishur. The name of Abishur's wife was Abihail, who bore him Aban and Molid. The sons of Nadab were Seled and Appaim. But Seled died without sons. The son of Appaim was Ishai, and the son of Ishai was Shishan, and the son of Shishan, Alai. The sons of Jada, the brother of Shammai, were Jether and Jonathan. But Jether died without sons. The sons of Jonathan were Peleth and Zazah. These were the descendants of Jerahmeel. Shishan had no sons, only daughters. Now Shishan had an Egyptian servant whose name was Jarha. Shishan gave his daughter to be the wife of his servant Jarha, and she bore him Attai. Attai became father to Nathan. Nathan became father to Zabad. Zabad became father to Ephlal. Ephlal became father to Obed. Obed became father to Jehu. Jehu became father to Azariah. Azariah became father to Helez. Helez became father to Eleasah. Eleasah became father to Sismai. Sismai became father to Shallum. Shallum became father to Jechamiah. Jechamiah became father to Elishama. The sons of Caleb, the brother of Jerahmeel, were Mesha his firstborn, who was the father of Ziph, and the sons of Marishah, the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron were Korah, Tappuah, Rechem, and Shema. Shema became father to Raham, the father of Jorkiam. Rechem became father to Shammai. The son of Shammai was Maon. Maon was the father of Beth-zur. Caleb's concubine Ephah gave birth to Haran, Moza, and Gazez. Haran became father to Gazez. The sons of Jahdai were Regem, Jotham, Geshan, Pelet, Ephah, and Sheaph. Caleb's concubine Maacah gave birth to Sheber and Tirhanah. In time she bore Sheaph, the father of Madmannah, and Shiva, the father of Machbenah, and Gibeah. Caleb's daughter was Achsah. These were the descendants of Caleb. The sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, were Shobal, the father of Kiriath-Jearim, Salma, the father of Bethlehem, and Hareph, the father of Beth-gader. Shobal, the father of Kiriath-Jearim, had sons, Haroah, and half of the Menuhoth. The families of Kiriath-Jearim were the Ithrites, the Puthites, the Shumathites, and the Mishraites. It was from these that the Zorathites and the Eshtaolites came. The sons of Salma were Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Atroth-Beth-Joab, half of the Manahathites, and the Zorites. The families of the scribes dwelling at Jabez were the Tirathites, the Shimeathites, and the Sukathites. These were the Kenites who came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. Chapter 3. These were the sons of David, who were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn, Amnon, whose mother was Ahinoam of Jezreel. The second, Daniel, whose mother was Abigail the Carmelite. The third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, the king of Geshur. The fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. The fifth, Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. And the sixth, Ithream, whose mother was David's wife, Eglah. These 6 were born to him in Hebron. He reigned there for 7 years and 6 months, and for 33 years he reigned in Jerusalem. These were born to him in Jerusalem: Shimeah, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. The mother of these 4 was Bathsheba, the daughter of Ammiel. And 9 other sons were Ibhar, Elishama, Eliphalet, Nogah, Nepheg, Japhiah, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphalet. All of these were the sons of David, besides the sons of the concubines, and Tamar was their sister. The son of Solomon was Rehoboam. Abijah was his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Jehoram his son, Ahaziah his son, Jehoash his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Amon his son, Josiah his son. The sons of Josiah were the firstborn Johanan, the second Jehoiakim, the third Zedekiah, the fourth Shallum. The sons of Jehoiakim were Jeconiah his son, and Zedekiah his son. The sons of Jeconiah the prisoner were Shealtiel, Malchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazar, Jechemiah, Hoshama, and Nedabiah. The sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei, and the sons of Zerubbabel were Meshullam and Hananiah, and Shelomith was their sister. And 5 other sons were Hashubah, Ohel, Berechiah, Hasadiah, and Jushab-Hesed. And the sons of Hananiah were Pelatiah and Jeshaiah. The son of Jeshaiah was Rephaiah. The son of Rephaiah was Arnan. The son of Arnan was Obadiah. The son of Obadiah was Shechaniah. And the sons of Shechaniah were Shemaiah, and the sons of Shemaiah, Hattush, Igal, Beriah, Neariah, and Shaphat, 6 in all. And the sons of Neariah were Elioenai, Hizkiah, and Azrikam, 3. And the sons of Elioenai were Hodaviah, Eliashib, Pelaiah, Akub, Johanan, Delaiah, and Anani, 7. Chapter 4. The sons of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Reaiah, the son of Shobal, became father to Jahath. Jahath became father to Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. These were the sons of the father of Etam, Jezreel, Ishma, and Idbash. And the name of their sister was Hazelelponi. And Penuel was the father of Gedor, and Ezer was the father of Husha. These were the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, and the father of Bethlehem. Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Naarah. Naarah bore to him Ahuzam, Hepher, Temeni, and Haahashtari. These were the sons of Naarah. And the sons of Helah were Zereth, Izhar, and Ethnan. Koz became father to Anab, Zobeba, and the families of Aharhel, the son of Haram. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother named him Jabez, saying,
I gave birth to him in pain.
Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying,
Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory, and let your hand be with me, and preserve me from calamity, so that it may bring no harm to me.
So God brought about what he had asked for. Caleb, the brother of Shuha, became father to Mehir, who was the father of Eshton. Eshton became father to Bethrapha, Paseah, and to Hinah, the father of Ir-Nahash. These were the men of Rechah. And the sons of Kenaz were Othniel and Sariah, and the son of Othniel was Hathath. Meonothai became father to Ophrah. Sariah became father to Joab, the father of Geharashim, so called because they were craftsmen. The sons of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, were Iru, Elah, and Naam, and the son of Elah was Kenaz. The sons of Jehalalel were Ziph, Ziphah, Tiria, and Asarel. The sons of Ezra were Jether, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. She conceived and bore Miriam, Shammai, and Ishbah, the father of Eshtemoa. And his Jewish wife gave birth to Jered, the father of Gedor, Heber, the father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, the father of Zenoah. These were the sons of Bethiah, the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Mered married. The sons of Hodiah's wife, the sister of Naham, were the fathers of Keilah the Garmite and Eshtemoa the Maacathite. And the sons of Shimon were Amnon, Rinnah, Ben-Hanan, and Tilon. And the sons of Ishai were Zoheth and Ben-Zoheth. The sons of Shelah, the son of Judah, were the father of Leka, Laada, the father of Marisha, and the families of the workers of fine fabric of the house of Ashbea, and Joachim, the men of Kozeba, Joash, and Seraph, who became husbands of Moabite women, and Jashubbalehem. These records are ancient. They were potters who lived in Netaim and Gedera. They lived there and worked for the king. The sons of Simeon were Nemuel, Jamin, Jarib, Zerah, and Shael. Shallum was his son, Mibsam his son, and Mishma his son. And the sons of Mishma were Hamuel his son, Zachar his son, Shimei his son. And Shimei had 16 sons and 6 daughters. But his brothers did not have many sons, and none of their families had as many as the men of Judah had. They lived in Beersheba, Moleda, Hazar-Shual, Bilhah, Ezem, Tolad, Bethuel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-Marcaboth, Hazar-Susim, Beth-Beri, and Shearaim. These were their cities until the reign of David. Their settlements were Etam, Ain, Rimmon, Token, and Ashan, 5 cities, along with their settlements that were all around these cities as far as Baal. These were their genealogical enrollments and the places where they lived. And Meshobab, Jamlech, Josha the son of Amaziah, Joel, Jehu son of Joshabiah, son of Sariah, son of Asiel, and Elioenai, Jaakobah, Jeshohiah, Asaiah, Adiel, Jesimiel, Benaiah, and Ziza son of Shiphi, son of Alon, son of Jedaiah, son of Shimri, son of Shemaiah. These mentioned by name were the chieftains among their families, and the household of their forefathers increased in number. And they went to the entrance of Gedor, to the east side of the valley, to look for pastures for their flocks. They eventually found rich and good pastures, and the land was spacious, quiet, and undisturbed. Those who previously lived there were Hamites. These whose names are listed came during the days of King Hezekiah of Judah, and struck down the tents of the Hamites and the Meunim who were there. They devoted them to destruction down to this day, and they settled in their place because there were pastures for their flocks there. Some of the Simeonites, 500 men, went to Mount Seir with Pelatiah, Neariah, Rephaiah, and Uzziel, the sons of Ishai, who led them. And they struck down the rest of the Amalekites who had escaped, and they have lived there down to this day. Chapter 5. These are the sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn. He was the firstborn, but because he defiled the bed of his father, his right as firstborn was given to the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel, so he was not enrolled genealogically for the right of the firstborn. Though Judah was superior to his brothers, and from him came the one to be the leader, the right as firstborn belonged to Joseph. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. The sons of Joel were Shemaiah his son, Gog his son, Shimei his son, Micah his son, Reaiah his son, Baal his son, and Beerah his son, whom King Tilgath-Pilneser of Assyria took into exile. He was a chieftain of the Reubenites. His brothers by their families in the genealogical enrollment by their descendants were, as the head, Jael, Zechariah, and Bela son of Azaz, son of Shema, son of Joel, who lived in Aroer and as far as Nebo and Baal-Meon. To the east he settled as far as the beginning of the wilderness at the Euphrates River, for their livestock had become numerous in the land of Gilead. In the days of Saul they waged war against the Hagrites, who were defeated before them, so they dwelled in their tents throughout all the territory east of Gilead. Now the descendants of Gad lived next to them in the land of Bashan, as far as Salekah. Joel was the head, Shapham the second, and Jani and Shaphat in Bashan. And their brothers belonging to their paternal houses were Michael, Meshullam, Sheba, Jorai, Jachin, Ziah, and Eber, 7 in all. These were the sons of Abihail, son of Hurai, son of Jeroah, son of Gilead, son of Michael, son of Jeshishai, son of Jahdo, son of Buz. Ahai, son of Abdiel, son of Gunai, was head of their paternal house. They lived in Gilead, in Bashan and its dependent towns, and in all the pastures of Sharon, as far as they extended. They were all enrolled genealogically in the days of King Jotham of Judah and in the days of King Jeroboam of Israel. The Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh had 44,760 mighty warriors in their army, who carried shields and swords and were armed with bows, and they were trained in war. They waged war against the Hagrites, Jetur, Naphish, and Nodab. And they were helped in fighting them, so that the Hagrites and all who were with them were given into their hand. For they called to God for help in the war, and he responded to their entreaty because they trusted in him. They captured their livestock, 50,000 camels, 250,000 sheep, and 2,000 donkeys, as well as 100,000 people. Many had fallen slain, because the war was waged by the true God, and they lived in their place until the time of the exile. The descendants of the half-tribe of Manasseh lived in the land from Bashan to Baal-Hermon, and Senir and Mount Hermon. They were numerous. These were the heads of their paternal houses: Epher, Ishai, Eliel, Azriel, Jeremiah, Hodaviah, and Jadiel. They were mighty warriors, men of fame, and heads of their paternal houses. But they acted unfaithfully toward the God of their forefathers, and prostituted themselves to the gods of the peoples of the land, whom God had annihilated from before them. So the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of King Pul of Assyria, that is, King Tilgath-Pilneser of Assyria, so that he took into exile those of the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and brought them to Halah, Habor, Hara, and the river Gozan, where they are until this day. Chapter 6. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The children of Amram were Aaron, Moses, and also Miriam. And the sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Eleazar became father to Phinehas. Phinehas became father to Abishua. Abishua became father to Buckai. Buckai became father to Uzzi. Uzzi became father to Zerahiah. Zerahiah became father to Meraioth. Meraioth became father to Amariah. Amariah became father to Ahitub. Ahitub became father to Zadok. Zadok became father to Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz became father to Azariah. Azariah became father to Johanan. Johanan became father to Azariah. He served as priest in the house that Solomon built in Jerusalem. Azariah became father to Amariah. Amariah became father to Ahitub. Ahitub became father to Zadok. Zadok became father to Shallum. Shallum became father to Hilkiah. Hilkiah became father to Azariah. Azariah became father to Sariah. Sariah became father to Jehozadak. And Jehozadak went into exile when Jehovah took Judah and Jerusalem into exile by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. The sons of Levi were Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. These are the names of the sons of Gershom: Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushi. These were the families of the Levites by their forefathers. Of Gershom, Libni his son, Jahath his son, Zimmah his son, Joah his son, Iddo his son, Zerah his son, Jeatherai his son. The sons of Kohath were Amminadab his son, Korah his son, Assir his son, Elkanah his son, Abiasaph his son, Assir his son, Tahath his son, Uriel his son, Uzziah his son, and Sheol his son. The sons of Elkanah were Amasai and Ahimoth. As for Elkanah, the sons of Elkanah were Zophai his son, Nahath his son, Eliab his son, Jeroham his son, Elkanah his son. The sons of Samuel were Joel the firstborn, and Abijah the second. The sons of Merari were Mahli, Libni his son, Shimei his son, Uzzah his son, Shimeah his son, Haggiah his son, and Asaiah his son. These were the ones whom David appointed to direct the singing at the house of Jehovah after the ark came to rest there. They were responsible for the singing at the tabernacle of the tent of meeting until Solomon built the house of Jehovah in Jerusalem, and they carried out their service as prescribed for them. These are the men who served with their sons. Of the Kohathites, Heman the singer, son of Joel, son of Samuel, son of Elkanah, son of Jeroham, son of Eliel, son of Toah, son of Zuph, son of Elkanah, son of Mahath, son of Amasai, son of Elkanah, son of Joel, son of Azariah, son of Zephaniah, son of Tahath, son of Assir, son of Abiasaph, son of Korah, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, son of Israel. His brother Asaph stood at his right hand. Asaph was son of Berechiah, son of Shimeah, son of Michael, son of Baaseiah, son of Melchijah, son of Ethni, son of Zerah, son of Adiah, son of Ethan, son of Zimmah, son of Shimei, son of Jahath, son of Gershom, son of Levi. The descendants of Merari, their brothers, were at the left hand. There was Ethan, son of Kishi, son of Abdi, son of Malach, son of Hashabiah, son of Amaziah, son of Hilkiah, son of Amzi, son of Bani, son of Shemer, son of Mahli, son of Mushi, son of Merari, son of Levi. Their brothers the Levites were appointed for all the service of the tabernacle, the house of the true God. Aaron and his sons made the sacrifices smoke on the altar of burnt offering and on the altar of incense, performing the duties connected with the most holy things to make atonement for Israel, according to all that Moses, the servant of the true God, had commanded. These were the descendants of Aaron: Eleazar his son, Phinehas his son, Abishua his son, Bucki his son, Uzzi his son, Zerahiah his son, Meraioth his son, Amariah his son, Ahitub his son, Zadok his son, and Ahimaaz his son. These were their settlements by their encampments in their territory. For the descendants of Aaron belonging to the family of the Kohathites, as the first lot fell to them, they gave them Hebron in the land of Judah, with its surrounding pastures. But the field of the city and its settlements they gave to Caleb the son of Jephunneh. And to the descendants of Aaron they gave the cities of refuge: Hebron, also Libnah with its pastures, Jattir, Eshtemoa with its pastures, Hilan with its pastures, Debir with its pastures, Ashan with its pastures, and Bethshemesh with its pastures. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Geba with its pastures, Alameth with its pastures, and Anathoth with its pastures. All their cities for their families were 13 cities. To the rest of the Kohathites there were allotted 10 cities, from the family of the tribe, from the half-tribe, the half of Manasseh. To the Gershomites by their families they assigned 13 cities from the tribe of Issachar, the tribe of Asher, the tribe of Naphtali, and the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. To the Merarites by their families they assigned by lot 12 cities from the tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Gad, and the tribe of Zebulun. Thus the Israelites gave the Levites these cities with their pastures. Furthermore, they assigned by lot these cities from the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Simeon, and the tribe of Benjamin, which are mentioned by their names. Some of the Kohathite families had cities from the tribe of Ephraim as their territory. They gave them the cities of refuge: Shechem with its pastures in the mountainous region of Ephraim, Gezer with its pastures, Jokmeam with its pastures, Beth-horon with its pastures, Aijalon with its pastures, and Gathrimmon with its pastures, and from half of the tribe of Manasseh, Aner with its pastures, and Bileam with its pastures, to the rest of the families of the Kohathites. To the Gershomites they assigned from the family of the half-tribe of Manasseh Golan in Bashan with its pastures, and Ashtaroth with its pastures, and from the tribe of Issachar Kedesh with its pastures, Daberath with its pastures, Ramoth with its pastures, and Anim with its pastures, and from the tribe of Asher Mashal with its pastures, Abdon with its pastures, Hukok with its pastures, and Rehob with its pastures, and from the tribe of Naphtali Kedesh and Galilee with its pastures, Hammon with its pastures, and Kiriathaim with its pastures. To the rest of the Merarites they assigned from the tribe of Zebulun Rimmono with its pastures, Tabor with its pastures, and in the region of the Jordan at Jericho, to the east of the Jordan, from the tribe of Reuben, they were given Bezer in the wilderness with its pastures, Jahaz with its pastures, Kedemoth with its pastures, and Mephaath with its pastures. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with its pastures, Mahanaim with its pastures, Heshbon with its pastures, and Jazer with its pastures. Chapter 7. Now the sons of Issachar were Tola, Puah, Jashub, and Shimron, 4. And the sons of Tola were Uzai, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jahmai, Ibsam, and Shemuel, the heads of their paternal houses. Descended from Tola were mighty warriors, whose number in the days of David was 22,600. And the descendants of Uzai were Izrahiah, and the sons of Izrahiah, Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. All 5 of them were chiefs. And with them, by their descendants, according to their paternal houses, there were 36,000 soldiers in their army available for war, for they had many wives and sons. And their brothers of all the families of Issachar were mighty warriors, 87,000, as listed in the genealogical enrollment. The sons of Benjamin were Bela, Becher, and Jediael, 3. And the sons of Bela were Esbon, Uzai, Uzziel, Jeremoth, and Iri, 5, heads of their paternal houses, mighty warriors, and 22,034 were in their genealogical enrollment. And the sons of Becher were Zemira, Joash, Eliezer, Elioenai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Alameth. All of these were the sons of Becher. Their genealogical enrollment by their descendants, as respects the heads of their paternal houses, was 20,200 mighty warriors. And the sons of Jediael were Bilhan, and the sons of Bilhan, Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud, Canaanah, Zethan, Tarshish, and Ahishahar. All of these were the sons of Jediael, according to the heads of their forefathers, 17,200 mighty warriors, ready to go out to the army for war. The Shuppim and the Huppim were the sons of Ir. The Hushim were the sons of Aher. The sons of Naphtali were Jaziel, Gunai, Jezer, and Shallum, descendants of Bilhah. The sons of Manasseh, Azriel, whom his Syrian concubine bore. She bore Machir, the father of Gilead. Machir took a wife for Huppim and for Shuppim, and the name of his sister was Maacah. The name of the second was Zelophehad, But Zelophehad had daughters. Maacah, Machir's wife, bore a son, and named him Peresh. And the name of his brother was Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Rechem. And the son of Ulam was Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh. And his sister was Hamoleketh. She gave birth to Ishhad, Abiezer, and Mahlah. And the sons of Shemida were Ahian, Shechem, Likhai, and Aniam. The sons of Ephraim were Shuthelah, Bered his son, Tahath his son, Eliada his son, Tahath his son, Zabad his son, Shuthelah his son, Ezer, and Eliad. The men of Gath who were born in the land killed them because they went down to take their livestock. Ephraim their father carried on mourning for many days, and his brothers kept coming in to comfort him. Afterward he had relations with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. But he named him Beriah, because it was with calamity that she was in his house. And his daughter was Shearah, who built Lower and Upper Beth-horon, and Uzzen-Shearah. And there was Repha his son, Resheph, Tela his son, Tahan his son, Ladan his son, Ammihud his son, Elishama his son, Nun his son, and Joshua his son. Their possession and their settlements were Bethel and its dependent towns, and to the east Naaran, and to the west Gezer and its dependent towns, and Shechem and its dependent towns, as far as Aiah and its dependent towns. And next to the descendants of Manasseh, Beth-shean and its dependent towns, Taanach and its dependent towns, Megiddo and its dependent towns, and Dor and its dependent towns. In these the descendants of Joseph, the son of Israel, lived. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah, and their sister was Serah. The sons of Beriah were Heber and Malchiel, who was the father of Birzaath. Heber became father to Japhlet, Shomer, and Hotham, and to Shua their sister. The sons of Japhlet were Pesach, Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were the sons of Japhlet. The sons of Shemer were Ahi, Roga, Jehubbah, and Aram. The sons of Helem, his brother, were Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah were Sua, Harnepher, Shual, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Hod, Shammah, Shilsha, Ithran, and Beerah. The sons of Jether were Jephunneh, Pispah, and Arah. The sons of Allah were Arah, Haniel, and Rizaiah. All of these were the sons of Asher, heads of their paternal houses, select mighty warriors, heads of the chieftains, and their number listed in the genealogical enrollment was 26,000 men in the army available for war. Chapter 8. Benjamin became father to Bela his firstborn, Ashbel the second, Ahara the third, Noha the fourth, and Rapha the fifth. Bela's sons were Adar, Gera, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoah, Gera, Shephuphan, and Huram. These were the sons of Ehud, the heads of the paternal houses of the inhabitants of Geba, who were taken into exile to Manahath, Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera. He was the one who took them into exile, and he became father to Uzzah and Ahihud. Shaharaim became father to children in the territory of Moab after he sent them away. Hushim and Beerah were his wives. And by his wife Hodesh he became father to Jobab, Zibiah, Mesha, Malcham, Jeuz, Sachiah, and Mirmah. These were his sons, heads of the paternal houses. By Hushim he became father to Abitub and Elpaal. And the sons of Elpaal were Eber, Misham, Shemed, who built Ono and Lod and its dependent towns, Beriah, and Shema. These were heads of the paternal houses of the inhabitants of Aijalon. These drove out the inhabitants of Gath. And there were Ahio, Shashak, Jeremoth, Zebediah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, Johah, the sons of Beriah. And Zebediah, Meshullam, Hizkai, Heber, Ishmerai, Isliah, Jobab, the sons of Elpaal. And Jachim, Zichri, Zabdi, Elienai, Zillethai, Eliel, Adiah, Bereah, Shimrath, the sons of Shimei. And Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zichri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anthothijah, Ifdiah, Penuel, the sons of Shashak. And Shamsherai, Shehariah, Athaliah, Jeareshiah, Elijah, Zichri, the sons of Jeroham. These were heads of the paternal houses by their descendants. These headmen lived in Jerusalem. The father of Gibeon, Jael, lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his firstborn son was Abdon, followed by Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, and Zecher. Mikloth became father to Shimeah, and they all lived near their brothers in Jerusalem, along with their other brothers. Ner became father to Kish. Kish became father to Saul. Saul became father to Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. And Jonathan's son was Meribaal. Meribaal became father to Micah. And the sons of Micah were Pithon, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz became father to Jehoiada. Jehoiada became father to Alameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri became father to Moza. Moza became father to Bineah, Rapha his son, Eleasah his son, Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, and their names were Azrikam, Bokeru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. All of these were the sons of Azel. And the sons of his brother Eshek were Ulam, his firstborn, Jeush the second, and Eliphalet the third. And the sons of Ulam were mighty warriors who could handle the bow, and they had many sons and grandsons, numbering 150. All of these were descendants of Benjamin. Chapter 9. All the Israelites were enrolled genealogically, and they are written in the book of the kings of Israel. And Judah was taken into exile to Babylon for its unfaithfulness. The first inhabitants to return to their possession in their cities were some Israelites, the priests, the Levites, and the temple servants. And some of the descendants of Judah, of Benjamin, of Ephraim, and of Manasseh settled in Jerusalem. Uthai, son of Ammihud, son of Omri, son of Imri, son of Bani, of the descendants of Perez, son of Judah. And of the Shilonites, Asaiah the firstborn, and his sons. And of the sons of Zerah, Jeuel, and 690 of their brothers. And of the descendants of Benjamin, Sallu, son of Meshullam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hasanua, Ibniah, son of Jeroham, Elah, son of Uzai, son of Mikri, and Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, son of Ruel, son of Ibnijah. And their brothers by line of descent were 956. All these men were heads of their paternal houses. And of the priests there were Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, Jachin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshullam, son of Zadok, son of Meraioth, son of Ahitub, a leader of the house of the true God, Adiah, son of Jeroham, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah, Maasai, son of Adiel, son of Jazerah, son of Meshullam, son of Meshillemith, son of Immer, and their brothers, heads of the paternal houses, 1,760 mighty, capable men available for the service of the house of the true God. And of the Levites there were Shemaiah son of Hashab, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah, from the descendants of Merari. And Bakbakkar, Heresh, Galal, Mattaniah son of Micah, son of Zichri, son of Asaph, Obadiah son of Shemaiah, son of Galal, son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who was dwelling in the settlements of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers were Shallum, Akab, Talmon, Ahiman, and their brother Shallum the head, and until then he was at the king's gate to the east. These were the gatekeepers of the camps of the Levites. And Shallum son of Korah, son of Abiasaph, son of Korah, and his brothers of his paternal house, the Korahites, were over the duties of the service, the doorkeepers of the tent, and their fathers had been over the camp of Jehovah as the keepers of the entryway. It was Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, who had been their leader in the past. Jehovah was with him. Zechariah, the son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper of the entrance of the tent of meeting. All those selected as gatekeepers at the thresholds numbered 212. They were in their settlements by their genealogical enrollment. David and Samuel the seer appointed these to their office of trust. They and their sons were over the guard service for the gates of the house of Jehovah, the house of the tent. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. From time to time their brothers were to come in from their settlements for 7 days to serve along with them. There were 4 chief gatekeepers in the office of trust. They were Levites, and they were in charge of the chambers and of the treasuries of the house of the true God. They would spend the night in their stations all around the house of the true God, for they cared for the guard service and were in charge of the key and would open up the house from morning to morning. Some of them were in charge of the utensils of the service. They would count them when they brought them in and count them when they took them out. Some of them were appointed over the utensils, over all the holy utensils, and over the fine flour, the wine, the oil, the frankincense, and the balsam oil. Some of the sons of the priests mixed the ointment of balsam oil. And Mattathiah of the Levites, who was the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, was in the office of trust over the things baked in pans. Some of their brothers of the Kohathites were in charge of the layer bread, to prepare it every Sabbath. These were the singers, the heads of the paternal houses of the Levites in the chambers, those set free from other duties, for by day and by night it was their responsibility to be on duty. These were the heads of the paternal houses of the Levites by their line of descent, headmen. These lived in Jerusalem. The father of Gibeon, Jael, lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his firstborn son was Abdon, followed by Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth became father to Shimeam, and they all lived near their brothers in Jerusalem, along with their other brothers. Ner became father to Kish. Kish became father to Saul. Saul became father to Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Ashbaal. And Jonathan's son was Meribaal. Meribaal became father to Micah. And the sons of Micah were Pithon, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz became father to Jerah. Jerah became father to Alameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri became father to Moza. Moza became father to Bineah, and Rephaiah his son, Eleasah his son, Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, and their names were Azrikam, Bocheru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Chapter 10. Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel. And the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and many fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines kept in close range of Saul and his sons, and the Philistines struck down Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, Saul's sons. The fighting grew fierce against Saul, and the archers found him, and he was wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer,
"Draw your sword and run me through with it, so that these uncircumcised men may not come and deal ruthlessly with me."
But his armor-bearer was unwilling, because he was very much afraid. So Saul took the sword and fell on it. When his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his own sword and died. Thus Saul and his 3 sons died, and all those of his house died together. When all the people of Israel in the valley saw that everyone had fled, and that Saul and his sons had died, they began to abandon their cities and flee. The Philistines then came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, they found Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. So they stripped him and took off his head and his armor. And they sent word throughout the land of the Philistines to spread the news to their idols and the people. Then they put his armor in the house of their god, and fastened his skull to the house of Dagon. When all those of Jabesh in Gilead heard about all that the Philistines had done to Saul, all the warriors rose up and carried off the corpse of Saul and the corpses of his sons. They brought them to Jabesh, and buried their bones under the big tree in Jabesh, and they fasted for 7 days. Thus Saul died for the unfaithfulness he had shown against Jehovah, because he had not obeyed the word of Jehovah, also for consulting a spirit medium instead of inquiring of Jehovah. So he put him to death and turned the kingship over to David, the son of Jesse. Chapter 11. In time, all the Israelites gathered to David at Hebron and said,
"Look, we are your own bone and flesh. In times past, while Saul was king, you were the one who was leading Israel on its campaigns. And Jehovah your God said to you, 'You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become leader over my people Israel.'"
So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and David made a covenant with them in Hebron before Jehovah. Then they anointed David as king over Israel, according to Jehovah's word through Samuel. Later, David and all Israel set out for Jerusalem, that is, Jebus, where the Jebusites were inhabiting the land. The inhabitants of Jebus taunted David,
"You will never come in here."
However, David captured the stronghold of Zion, which is now the city of David. So David said,
"Whoever is the first to strike the Jebusites will become chief and prince."
And Joab the son of Zeruiah went up first, and he became the chief. Then David took up residence in the stronghold. That is why they called it the city of David. He began to build up the city all around, from the mound to the areas around it, and Joab restored the rest of the city. Thus David became greater and greater, and Jehovah of armies was with him. Now these are the heads of David's mighty warriors, who gave him strong support in his kingship, together with all Israel, to make him king according to Jehovah's word concerning Israel. This is the list of David's mighty warriors. Jeshobeam, the son of a Hachmonite, the head of the 3. He brandished his spear over 300 slain at one time. Next to him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo the Ahohite. He was among the 3 mighty warriors. He was with David at Pasdammim, where the Philistines had gathered together for war. Now there was a plot of land full of barley, and the people had fled because of the Philistines. But he took his stand in the middle of the field and defended it, and kept striking down the Philistines, so that Jehovah brought about a great victory. 3 of the 30 headmen went down to the rock, to David at the cave of Adullam, while a Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and a garrison of the Philistines was in Bethlehem. Then David expressed his longing.
"If only I could have a drink of the water from the cistern by the gate of Bethlehem."
At that the three forced their way into the camp of the Philistines, and drew water from the cistern by the gate of Bethlehem, and brought it to David. But David refused to drink it, and poured it out to Jehovah. He said,
"It is unthinkable on my part from the standpoint of my God to do this. Should I drink the blood of these men who risked their lives? For it was at the risk of their lives that they brought it."
So he refused to drink it. These are the things that his 3 mighty warriors did. Abishai, the brother of Joab, became head of another 3. He brandished his spear over 300 slain, and he had a reputation like the 3. Of the other 3, he was more distinguished than 2 of them, and he was their chief. Yet he did not attain to the rank of the first 3. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was a courageous man who performed many exploits in Kabzeel. He struck down the 2 sons of Ariel of Moab, and he descended into a water pit on a snowy day and killed a lion. He also struck down an Egyptian man of extraordinary size, 5 cubits tall. Though the Egyptian had a spear in his hand like the beam of loom workers, he went against him with a rod and snatched the spear away from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. These things Benaiah the son of Jehoiada did, and he had a reputation like that of the 3 mighty warriors. Although he was distinguished even more than the 30, he did not attain to the rank of the 3. However, David appointed him over his own bodyguard. The mighty warriors of the military forces were Asahel, the brother of Joab, Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shamoth the Harorite, Helez the Pelonite, Ira the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, Abiezer the Anathothite, Sibbecai the Hushathite, Eli the Ahohite, Maharai the Netophathite, Heled the son of Baanah the Netophathite, Ithai the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the Benjaminites, Benaiah the Pirathonite, Hurai of the Wadis of Gaash, Abiel the Arbathite, Asmaveth the Beharumite, Eliabah the Shaalbanite, the sons of Hashem the Gizonite, Jonathan the son of Shagi the Hararite, Ahiam the son of Sakar the Hararite, Eliphal the son of Hefer the Machirathite, Ahijah the Pelonite, Hezro the Carmelite, Nearai the son of Ezbai, Joel the brother of Nathan, Mibhar the son of Hagri, Zelek the Ammonite, Naharai the Barathite, the armor-bearer of Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad the son of Ali, Adonah the son of Shiza the Reubenite, ahead of the Reubenites, and 30 with him, Hanan the son of Maacah, Joshaphat the Mithnite, Uzziah the Ashtorethite, Shema and Jael the sons of Hotham the Arorite, Jediael the son of Shimri, and Johah his brother the Tizite, Eliel the Mahavite, Jerubai and Joshaviah the sons of Elnaam, and Ithma the Moabite, Eliel, Obed, and Jaasiel the Mezobaite. Chapter 12. These were the men who came to David at Ziklag while he was unable to move about freely because of Saul the son of Kish, and they were among the mighty warriors who supported him in battle. They were armed with the bow, and they could use both the right hand and the left hand to sling stones or to shoot arrows with the bow. They were of the brothers of Saul, from Benjamin. The head was Ahiezer, along with Joash, both sons of Shimea the Gibeathite, Jeziel and Pelet the sons of Asmaveth, Berakah, Jehu the Anathothite, Ishmael the Gibeonite, a mighty warrior among the 30 and over the 30. Also Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan, Jozabad the Gederathite, Eluzai, Jeremoth, Bealiah, Shemariah, Shephatiah the Heraphite, Elkanah, Ishiah, Azarel, Joezer, and Jeshobeam, the Korahites, and Joelah and Zebediah, the sons of Jeroham of Gedor. Some of the Gadites went over to David's side at the stronghold in the wilderness. They were mighty warriors, soldiers trained for war, standing ready with the large shield and the lance, whose faces were like those of lions, and who were as swift as the gazelles on the mountains. Ezer was the head, Obadiah the second, Eliab the third, Mishmannah the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attai the sixth, Eliel the seventh, Johanan the eighth, Elzabad the ninth, Jeremiah the 10th, Machbanai the 11th. These were of the Gadites, heads of the army. The least one was equal to 100, and the greatest to 1,000. These are the men who crossed the Jordan in the first month when it was overflowing its banks, and they chased away all those living in the lowlands to the east and to the west. Some of the men of Benjamin and Judah also came to David at his stronghold. Then David went out before them and said to them,
"If you have come to me in peace to help me, my heart will be united with you. But if it is to betray me to my adversaries when my hands have done no wrong, let the God of our forefathers see it and judge."
Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, the head of the 30.
"We are yours, O David, and we are with you, O son of Jesse. Peace, peace be yours, and peace to the one helping you, for your God is helping you."
So David received them and appointed them among the heads of the troops. Some from Manasseh also deserted to David when he came with the Philistines to battle against Saul. But he did not help the Philistines, for after consultation, the lords of the Philistines sent him away, saying,
"He will desert to his lord Saul, and it will cost us our heads."
When he went to Ziklag, these deserted to him from Manasseh: Adnah, Jozabad, Jediael, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, and Zillethai, heads of the thousands of Manasseh. They helped David against the marauder band, because all of them were mighty, courageous men, and they became chiefs in the army. Day after day, people kept coming to David to help him, until it was a camp as great as the camp of God. This is the number of the heads of those armed for battle who came to David at Hebron to turn the kingship of Saul over to him, according to Jehovah's order. The men of Judah, carrying the large shield and the lance, were 6,800, armed for battle. Of the Simeonites, the mighty, courageous men of the army were 7,100. Of the Levites, 4,600. Jehoiada was the leader of the sons of Aaron, and with him were 3,700, as well as Zadok, a mighty and courageous young man, along with 22 chiefs from his paternal house. Of the Benjaminites, the brothers of Saul, there were 3,000, of whom the greater number had previously been guarding the interests of the house of Saul. Of the Ephraimites, there were 20,800 mighty, courageous men of fame among their paternal houses. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh, there were 18,000 who had been designated by name to come to make David king. Of the tribe of Issachar, who understood the times and knew what Israel should do, there were 200 of their headmen, and all their brothers were under their command. Of Zebulun, there were 50,000 who could serve in the army, drawing up in battle formation with all the weapons of war, all joining David with undivided loyalty. Of Naphtali, there were 1,000 chiefs, and with them were 37,000 with the large shield and the spear. Of the Danites, those drawing up in battle formation were 28,600. And of Asher, those who could serve in the army for drawing up in battle formation were 40,000. From across the Jordan, of the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, there were 120,000 soldiers with all kinds of weapons of war. All of these were men of war, joining together in battle line. They came with a complete heart to Hebron to make David king over all Israel. and also all the rest of Israel were united in wanting to make David king. And they remained there with David for 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brothers had made preparation for them. Also those near them, and even those as far as Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali, were bringing food on donkeys, camels, mules, and cattle, provisions of flour, cakes of pressed figs and raisins, wine, oil, and cattle and sheep in great quantity, for there was rejoicing in Israel. Chapter 13. David consulted with the chiefs of the thousands and of the hundreds and with every leader. Then David said to all the congregation of Israel,
"If it seems good to you, and it is acceptable to Jehovah our God, let us send word to our remaining brothers in all regions of Israel, and also to the priests and the Levites in their cities with pastures, to come and join us, and let us bring back the ark of our God."
For they had not cared for it in the days of Saul. All the congregation agreed to do that, for it seemed right to all the people. So David congregated all Israel, from the river of Egypt as far as Lebo-Hamath, to bring the ark of the true God from Kiriath-Jearim. David and all Israel went up to Baalah, to Kiriath-Jearim, which belongs to Judah, to bring up from there the ark of the true God, Jehovah, who sits enthroned above the cherubs, where his name is called on. However, they placed the ark of the true God on a new wagon, and brought it from the house of Abinadab, and Uzzah and Ahio were leading the wagon. David and all Israel were celebrating before the true God with all their might, accompanied by songs, harps, other stringed instruments, tambourines, cymbals, and trumpets. But when they came to the threshing floor of Kidon, Uzzah thrust his hand out and grabbed hold of the ark, for the cattle nearly upset it. At that Jehovah's anger blazed against Uzzah, and he struck him down because he had thrust his hand out to the ark, and he died there before God. But David became angry because Jehovah's wrath had broken through against Uzzah, and that place has been called Perez-Uzzah down to this day. So David became fearful of the true God on that day, and said,
"How can I bring the ark of the true God to me?"
David did not bring the ark to where he was in the city of David, but he had it taken to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of the true God was with the household of Obed-Edom, remaining at his house for 3 months. And Jehovah kept blessing the household of Obed-Edom, and all he had. Chapter 14. King Hiram of Tyre sent messengers to David, along with cedar timbers, stonemasons, and woodworkers, to build a house for him. And David knew that Jehovah had firmly established him as king over Israel, for his kingship was highly exalted for the sake of his people Israel. David took more wives in Jerusalem, and David became father to more sons and daughters. These are the names of the children born to him in Jerusalem: Shemua, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibhar, Elishua, Elpalet, Nogah, Nepheg, Japhiah, Elishama, Baaliada, and Eliphalet. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed as king over all Israel, all the Philistines came up to search for David. When David heard about it, he went out against them. Then the Philistines came in and kept making raids in the valley of Rephaim. David inquired of God, saying,
"Should I go up against the Philistines? Will you give them into my hand?"
At this Jehovah said to him, "Go up, and I will surely give them into your hand." So David went up to Baal-perazim, and he struck them down there. At that David said,
"The true God has broken through my enemies by my hand, like a breach made by waters."
That is why they named that place Baal-perazim. The Philistines abandoned their gods there, and when David gave the order, these were burned in the fire. Later the Philistines once again made a raid in the valley. David again inquired of God, But the true God said to him, "Do not go directly up after them. Instead, go around behind them, and come against them in front of the beka bushes. And when you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the beka bushes, launch your attack, for the true God will have gone out before you to strike down the army of the Philistines." So David did just as the true God commanded him, and they struck down the Philistine army from Gibeon to Gezer. And David's fame spread into all the lands, and Jehovah put the dread of him upon all the nations. Chapter 15. And he continued building houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the ark of the true God, and pitched a tent for it. It was then that David said,
"No one is to carry the ark of the true God except the Levites, for Jehovah has chosen them to carry the ark of Jehovah and to minister to him always."
Then David congregated all Israel at Jerusalem to bring the ark of Jehovah up to the place that he had prepared for it. David gathered the descendants of Aaron and the Levites. From the Kohathites, Uriel the chief and 120 of his brothers. From the Merarites, Asaiah the chief and 220 of his brothers. From the Gershomites, Joel the chief and 130 of his brothers. From the descendants of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the chief and 200 of his brothers. From the descendants of Hebron, Eliel the chief and 80 of his brothers. From the descendants of Uzziel, Aminadab the chief and 112 of his brothers. Furthermore, David called the priests, Zadok and Abiathar, and the Levites, Uriel, Asaiah, Joel, Shemaiah, Eliel, and Aminadab, and he said to them,
"You are the heads of the paternal houses of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, you and your brothers, and bring the ark of Jehovah, the God of Israel, up to the place that I have prepared for it. Since you did not carry it the first time, the anger of Jehovah our God broke out against us, because we did not search out the proper procedure."
So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of Jehovah, the God of Israel. Then the Levites carried the ark of the true God on their shoulders with the poles, just as Moses had commanded by Jehovah's word. David then told the chiefs of the Levites to appoint their brothers the singers to sing out joyfully, accompanied by musical instruments, stringed instruments, harps, and cymbals. So the Levites appointed Heman, the son of Joel, and of his brothers Asaph, the son of Berechiah, and of the Merarites their brothers, Ethan, the son of Cushaiah. Together with them were their brothers of the second division, Zechariah, Ben, Jaaziel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Unai, Eliab, Benaiah, Maaseiah, Mattithiah, Eliphalahu, and Micniah and Obed-Edom and Jael, the gatekeepers. The singers Heman, Asaph, and Ethan were to play the copper cymbals, and Zechariah, Aziel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Unai, Eliab, Maaseiah, and Benaiah played stringed instruments tuned to Alamoth, and Mattithiah, Eliphalahu, Micniah, Obed-Edom, Jael, and Azaziah played harps tuned to Sheminith to act as directors. Kenaniah, the chief of the Levites, supervised the transport, for he was an expert, and Berechiah and Elkanah were gatekeepers for the ark. The priests Shebaniah, Joshaphat, Nethanel, Amasai, Zechariah, Benaiah, and Eliezer loudly sounded the trumpets before the ark of the true God, and Obed-Edom and Jehiah also served as gatekeepers for the ark. Then David and the elders of Israel and the chiefs of the thousands were walking along to bring the ark of the covenant of Jehovah up from the house of Obed-Edom with rejoicing. When the true God helped the Levites who were carrying the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, they sacrificed 7 young bulls and 7 rams. David was dressed in a sleeveless coat of fine fabric, as were all the Levites carrying the ark, the singers, and Kenaniah, the chief of the transport and the singers. David was also wearing a linen ephod. All the Israelites were bringing up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah with joyful shouting, with the sound of the horn, with trumpets, with cymbals, playing loudly on stringed instruments and harps. But when the ark of the covenant of Jehovah came to the city of David, Saul's daughter Michal looked down through the window and saw King David skipping about and celebrating, and she began to despise him in her heart. Chapter 16. So they brought the ark of the true God in, and placed it inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And they presented burnt offerings and communion sacrifices before the true God. When David finished offering up the burnt offerings and the communion sacrifices, he blessed the people in the name of Jehovah. Further, he distributed to all the Israelites, to each man and woman, a round loaf of bread, a date cake, and a raisin cake. Then he appointed some of the Levites to minister before the ark of Jehovah, to honor, thank, and praise Jehovah the God of Israel. Asaph was the head, and second to him was Zechariah, and Jael, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Mattathiah, Eliab, Benaiah, Obed-Edom, and Jael played stringed instruments and harps, and Asaph played the cymbals, and Benaiah and Jahaziel the priests blew the trumpets constantly before the ark of the covenant of the true God. It was on that day that David first contributed a song of thanks to Jehovah through Asaph and his brothers.
Give thanks to Jehovah. Call on his name. Make his deeds known among the peoples. Sing to him. Sing praises to him. Ponder over all his wonderful works. Boast about his holy name. Let the hearts of those seeking Jehovah rejoice. Search for Jehovah and his strength. Seek his face constantly. Remember the wonderful works he has performed, his miracles, and the judgments he has pronounced. You offspring of Israel, his servant, you sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Jehovah our God. His judgments are throughout the earth. Remember his covenant forever, the promise he made to 1,000 generations, the covenant he made with Abraham, and the oath he swore to Isaac, which he established as a decree to Jacob, and as a lasting covenant to Israel, saying, I will give you the land of Canaan as your allotted inheritance. This was when you were few in number, yes, very few, and you were foreigners in the land. They walked about from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another people. He did not allow any man to oppress them, but on their account he reproved kings, saying, Do not touch my anointed ones, and to my prophets do nothing bad.
Sing to Jehovah, all the earth. Announce his salvation day after day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wonderful works among all the peoples. For Jehovah is great and most worthy of praise. He is more awe-inspiring than all other gods. All the gods of the peoples are worthless gods, but Jehovah is the one who made the heavens. In his presence are majesty and splendor. Strength and joy are in his dwelling place. Give Jehovah his due, you families of the peoples. Give Jehovah his due for his glory and strength. Give Jehovah the glory due his name. Bring a gift and come in before him. Bow down to Jehovah in holy adornment. Tremble before him, all the earth. The earth is firmly established. It cannot be moved. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be joyful. Declare among the nations, Jehovah has become king. Let the sea thunder, and all that fills it. Let the fields and everything in them rejoice. At the same time, let the trees of the forest shout joyfully before Jehovah, for he is coming to judge the earth.
Give thanks to Jehovah, for he is good. His loyal love endures forever. And say, Save us, O God of our salvation. gather us and rescue us from the nations, so that we may give thanks to your holy name and exult in praising you. May Jehovah, the God of Israel, be praised throughout all eternity."
And all the people said,
Amen.
and they praised Jehovah. Then David left Asaph and his brothers there before the ark of the covenant of Jehovah to minister continually before the ark, according to the daily routine. Obed-Edom and his brothers, numbering 68, and Obed-Edom the son of Jeduthun, and Hosa were gatekeepers. And Zadok the priest and his fellow priests were before the tabernacle of Jehovah on the high place at Gibeon, to offer up burnt offerings to Jehovah regularly on the altar of burnt offering, morning and evening, and to do all that is written in the law of Jehovah that he commanded Israel. With them were Heman and Jeduthun and the rest of the selected men who were designated by their names to thank Jehovah, because his loyal love endures forever. And with them were Heman and Jeduthun to sound the trumpets, cymbals, and the instruments used to praise the true God, and the sons of Jeduthun were at the gate. Then all the people went to their homes, and David went to bless his own household. Chapter 17. As soon as David was settled in his own house, he said to Nathan the prophet,
"Here I am living in a house of cedars, while the ark of the covenant of Jehovah is under tent cloths."
Nathan replied to David,
"Do whatever is in your heart, for the true God is with you."
On that very night the word of God came to Nathan, saying, "Go and say to my servant David, this is what Jehovah says, You are not the one who will build the house for me to dwell in. For I have not dwelled in a house from the day I brought Israel out to this day, but I continued going from tent to tent and from one tabernacle to another. During all the time that I went with all Israel, did I ever say one word to any of the judges of Israel whom I appointed to shepherd my people, saying, Why did you not build a house of cedars for me? Now say this to my servant David, This is what Jehovah of armies says, I took you from the pastures, from following the flock, to become a leader over my people Israel. And I will be with you wherever you go, and I will do away with all your enemies from before you. And I will make a name for you like the name of the great men of the earth. I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and settle them, and they will live there and not be disturbed any more. And wicked men will not oppress them again as they did in the past, from the day that I appointed judges over my people Israel. And I will subdue all your enemies. Moreover, I tell you, Jehovah will build a house for you. When your days come to an end, and you go to be with your forefathers, I will raise up your offspring after you, one of your sons, and I will firmly establish his kingship. He is the one who will build a house for me, and I will firmly establish his throne forever. I will become his father, and he will become my son. I will not remove my loyal love from him the way I removed it from the one who was prior to you. I will cause him to stand in my house and in my kingship forever, and his throne will last forever." Nathan told David all these words and this entire vision. At that, King David came in and sat down before Jehovah and said,
"Who am I, O Jehovah God, and what is my house that you have brought me this far? As if this were not enough, O God, you also speak about the house of your servant down to a distant future time. And you have looked on me as if I were a man who should be further exalted, O Jehovah God. What more can your servant David say to you about the honor given me, when you know your servant so well? O Jehovah, for the sake of your servant, and in agreement with your heart you have done all these great things, by revealing your greatness. O Jehovah, there is no one like you, and there is no God except you. Everything we have heard with our ears confirms this. And what other nation on earth is like your people Israel? The true God went and redeemed them as his people. You made a name for yourself by your great and awe-inspiring deeds, driving out nations from before your people, whom you redeemed from Egypt. You made your people Israel your own people for all time, and you, O Jehovah, became their God. Now, O Jehovah, may the promise you have made concerning your servant and his house prove faithful for all time, and may you do just as you have promised. May your name endure and be exalted forever, so that people may say, Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, is God to Israel. And may the house of your servant David be firmly established before you. For you, my God, have revealed to your servant your purpose to build him a house. That is why your servant has the confidence to offer this prayer to you. And now, O Jehovah, you are the true God, and you have promised these good things concerning your servant. So may it please you to bless the house of your servant, and may it continue forever before you. For you, O Jehovah, have blessed, and it is blessed forever.
Chapter 18. Sometime later, David defeated the Philistines and subdued them, and took Gath and its dependent towns out of the hands of the Philistines. Then he defeated Moab, and the Moabites became David's servants and brought tribute. David defeated King Hadadezer of Zobah near Hamath as he was on his way to establish his authority at the Euphrates River. David captured 1,000 chariots, 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 foot soldiers from him. Then David hamstrung all but 100 of the chariot horses. When the Syrians of Damascus came to help King Hadadezer of Zobah, David struck down 22,000 of the Syrians. David then established garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought tribute. Jehovah gave David victory wherever he went. Moreover, David took the circular shields of gold from the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem. From Tibhath and Cun, cities of Hadadezer, David took a great quantity of copper. With it, Solomon made the copper sea, the pillars, and the copper utensils. When King Tou of Hamath heard that David had defeated the entire army of King Hadadezer of Zobah, he immediately sent his son Hadoram to King David to ask about his welfare and to congratulate him because he had fought and defeated Hadadezer, for Hadadezer had often fought against Tou. And he brought all sorts of articles of gold, silver, and copper. King David sanctified these to Jehovah, along with the silver and the gold that he had carried off from all the nations, from Edom and Moab, from the Ammonites, the Philistines, and the Amalekites. Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, struck down 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. He established garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. Jehovah gave David victory wherever he went. David kept reigning over all Israel, and he was administering justice and righteousness for all his people. Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the army. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were priests, and Shavsha was secretary. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And David's sons were first in position next to the king. Chapter 19. Later Nahash, the king of the Ammonites, died, and his son became king in his place. At that David said,
I will show loyal love toward Hanun the son of Nahash, because his father showed loyal love toward me.
So David sent messengers to offer him comfort over the loss of his father. But when David's servants came into the land of the Ammonites to comfort Hanun, the princes of the Ammonites said to Hanun,
Do you think that David is honoring your father by sending comforters to you? Is it not to make a thorough search, and to overthrow you, and to spy out the land that his servants have come to you?"
So Hanun took the servants of David and shaved them, and cut their garments in half at their buttocks, and sent them away. When David was told about the men, he at once sent others to meet them, because the men had been deeply humiliated. And the king told them,
"Stay in Jericho until your beards grow back, and then return."
In time the Ammonites saw that they had become a stench to David. So Hanun and the Ammonites sent 1,000 silver talents to hire chariots and horsemen from Mesopotamia, Aramaica, and Zobah. Thus they hired 32,000 chariots, along with the king of Maacah and his people. Then they came and camped before Medeba. The Ammonites gathered together from their cities and came out for the battle. When David heard about it, he sent Joab and the entire army, including his mightiest warriors. And the Ammonites went out and drew up in battle formation at the entrance of the city, while the kings who had come were by themselves in the open field. When Joab saw that the battle charges were coming against him from the front and the rear, he chose some of the best troops in Israel and drew them up in battle formation to meet the Syrians. He put the rest of the men under the command of his brother Abishai, in order to draw them up in battle formation to meet the Ammonites. Then he said,
"If the Syrians become too strong for me, then you must come to my rescue. But if the Ammonites become too strong for you, I will rescue you. We must be strong and courageous for our people and for the cities of our God, and Jehovah will do what is good in his eyes."
Then Joab and his men advanced to meet the Syrians in battle, and they fled from before him. When the Ammonites saw that the Syrians had fled, they also fled from his brother Abishai and went into the city. After that, Joab came to Jerusalem. When the Syrians saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they sent messengers to summon the Syrians in the region of the river, with Shophak, the chief of the army of Hadadezer, leading them. When the report was made to David, he immediately gathered all Israel and crossed the Jordan and came to them, and drew up in battle formation against them. David drew up in battle formation to meet the Syrians, and they fought against him. But the Syrians fled from Israel, and David killed 7,000 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers of the Syrians, and he put Shophak, the chief of the army, to death. When the servants of Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they promptly made peace with David and became his subjects. And Syria did not want to help the Ammonites any more. Chapter 20. At the start of the year, at the time when kings go on campaigns, Joab led a military expedition and devastated the land of the Ammonites. He came and besieged Rabbah, while David stayed in Jerusalem. Joab attacked Rabbah and tore it down. Then David took the crown of Malcham from its head and found that it weighed a talent of gold, and in it there were precious stones, and it was placed on David's head. He also took a vast amount of spoil from the city, and he brought out the people who were in it and put them to work at sawing stones and at working with sharp iron instruments and with axes. That was what David did to all the cities of the Ammonites. Finally, David and all the troops returned to Jerusalem. After this, war broke out at Gezer with the Philistines. At that time, Sibbecai the Hushathite struck down Sippai, who was a descendant of the Rephaim, and they were subdued. And there was war again with the Philistines, and Elhanan the son of Jair struck down Lahmi, the brother of Goliath the Gittite, whose spear had a shaft like the beam of loom workers. War broke out yet again at Gath, where there was a man of extraordinary size, with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all, and he too was a descendant of the Rephaim. He kept taunting Israel. So Jonathan the son of Shimeah, David's brother, struck him down. These were descendants of the Rephaim in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. Chapter 21. Then Satan stood up against Israel and incited David to number Israel. So David said to Joab and the chiefs of the people,
Go, count Israel from Beersheba to Dan. Then report to me so that I may know their number.
But Joab said,
May Jehovah multiply his people 100 times. My lord the king, are not all of them already servants of my lord? Why does my lord want to do this? Why should he become a cause of guilt to Israel?
But the king's word prevailed over Joab. So Joab went out and traveled throughout Israel, after which he came to Jerusalem. Joab now gave to David the number of the people who were registered. All Israel amounted to 1,100,000 men armed with swords, and Judah 470,000 men armed with swords. But Levi and Benjamin were not registered among them, because the king's word was detestable to Joab. Now this was very displeasing to the true God, so he struck Israel. David then said to the true God,
I have sinned greatly by doing this, and now, please, forgive your servant's error, for I have acted very foolishly.
Jehovah then spoke to Gad, David's visionary, saying, Go and say to David, This is what Jehovah says. I am giving you 3 options. Choose the one that I should bring on you. So Gad came in to David and said to him,
This is what Jehovah says. Take your pick, whether there should be 3 years of famine, or 3 months of being swept away by your adversaries, while the sword of your enemies overtakes you, or 3 days of the sword of Jehovah, pestilence in the land, with Jehovah's angel bringing destruction in all the territory of Israel. Now consider what I should reply to the one who sent me.
So David said to Gad,
It is very distressing to me. Please, let me fall into the hand of Jehovah, for his mercy is very great, but do not let me fall into the hand of man.
Then Jehovah sent a pestilence on Israel, so that 70,000 people out of Israel fell. Moreover, the true God sent an angel to Jerusalem to destroy it. But as he was about to do so, Jehovah saw it and felt regret over the calamity. And he said to the angel bringing destruction, It is enough. Now let your hand drop. Jehovah's angel was standing close to the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. When David raised his eyes, he saw Jehovah's angel standing between the earth and the heavens with a drawn sword in his hand, extended toward Jerusalem. David and the elders, covered with sackcloth, at once threw themselves down with their faces to the ground. David said to the true God,
Was it not I who said to number the people? I am the one who sinned, and I am the one who did wrong. But these sheep, what have they done? O Jehovah my God, let your hand please come against me and my father's house. But do not bring this scourge on your people.
Jehovah's angel then told Gad to tell David to go up and erect an altar to Jehovah on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So David went up at the word of Gad, which he had spoken in the name of Jehovah. Meanwhile, Ornan turned around and saw the angel, and his 4 sons who were with him hid themselves. Now Ornan had been threshing wheat. When David came up to him, Ornan looked and saw David, and he immediately went out from the threshing floor and bowed down to David with his face to the ground. David said to Ornan,
Sell me the site of the threshing floor, so that I may build an altar to Jehovah on it. Sell it to me for the full price, so that the scourge against the people may be halted.
But Ornan said to David,
Take it as your own, and let my lord the king do what seems good to him. Here I am providing the cattle for burnt offerings, and the threshing sledge for the wood, and the wheat as a grain offering. I give all of it.
However, King David said to Ornan,
"No, I must buy it for the full price, because I will not take what is yours and give it to Jehovah, or offer up burnt sacrifices that cost me nothing."
So David gave Ornan 600 gold shekels by weight for the site. And David built an altar there to Jehovah, and offered up burnt sacrifices and communion sacrifices. And he called on Jehovah, who now answered him with fire from the heavens on the altar of burnt offering. Then Jehovah ordered the angel to return his sword to its sheath. At that time, when David saw that Jehovah had answered him at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, he continued to sacrifice there. However, the tabernacle of Jehovah that Moses had made in the wilderness and the altar of burnt offering were at that time on the high place at Gibeon. But David had not been able to go before it to consult God, for he was terrified because of the sword of Jehovah's angel. Chapter 22. David then said,
"This is the house of Jehovah, the true God, and this is an altar for burnt offering for Israel."
David then gave orders to bring together the foreign residents who were in the land of Israel, and he assigned them to be stone cutters, to cut and shape stones for building the house of the true God. David also prepared iron in great quantity for nails for the doors of the gates and for clamps, and so much copper that it was beyond weighing, and also cedar timbers without number, for the Sidonians and the Tyrians brought great quantities of cedar timbers to David. And David said,
"My son Solomon is young and inexperienced, and the house to be built for Jehovah is to be exceedingly magnificent, so that its fame and beauty will be known in all lands. Therefore, I will make preparation for him."
So David prepared materials in great quantity before his death. Moreover, he summoned his son Solomon and instructed him to build a house for Jehovah the God of Israel. David told his son Solomon,
"As for me, it was my heart's desire to build a house for the name of Jehovah my God. But Jehovah's word came to me, saying, 'You have shed a great deal of blood, and you have fought great wars. You will not build a house for my name, for you have shed a great deal of blood on the earth before me. Look, you will have a son who will be a man of peace, and I will give him rest from all his enemies who surround him. For Solomon will be his name, and I will grant Israel peace and quiet in his days. He is the one who will build a house for my name. He will become my son, and I will be his father. I will firmly establish the throne of his kingship over Israel forever. Now, my son, may Jehovah be with you, and may you be successful, and build the house of Jehovah your God, just as he has spoken concerning you. Only may Jehovah give you discretion and understanding when he gives you authority over Israel, so that you may keep the law of Jehovah your God. Then you will be successful if you carefully observe the regulations and the judgments that Jehovah ordered Moses to give Israel. Be courageous and strong. Do not be afraid or be terrified. Here I have taken great pains to prepare for Jehovah's house 100,000 talents of gold and 1,000,000 talents of silver, and such great quantities of copper and iron that they cannot be weighed. And I have prepared timbers and stones, but you will add to them. A great number of workmen are with you, stone cutters, stone masons, woodworkers, and all kinds of skilled workers. The gold, silver, copper, and iron are beyond measure. Get up and begin the work, and may Jehovah be with you."
David then ordered all the princes of Israel to help his son Solomon.
"Is not Jehovah your God with you? And has he not given you rest on every side? For he handed over to me the inhabitants of the land, and the land has been subdued before Jehovah and before his people. Now determine with all your heart and soul to seek Jehovah your God, and start building the sanctuary of Jehovah the true God, in order to bring the ark of the covenant of Jehovah and the holy utensils of the true God to the house built for the name of Jehovah.
Chapter 23. When David had grown old and was near the end of his life, he made his son Solomon king over Israel. He then gathered all the princes of Israel, the priests, and the Levites. The Levites, who were 30 years old and up, were numbered. Their number, their head count man by man, was 38,000. Of these, 24,000 served as supervisors over the work of Jehovah's house, and there were 6,000 officers and judges, and there were 4,000 gatekeepers, and 4,000 gave praise to Jehovah on the instruments, about which David said,
I made them for giving praise.
Then David organized them into divisions according to the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Of the Gershonites were Ladan and Shimei. The sons of Ladan were Jehiel the headman, Zetham, and Joel, 3. The sons of Shimei were Shelomoth, Haziel, and Haran, 3. These were the heads of the paternal houses for Ladan. And the sons of Shimei were Jahath, Zina, Jeush, and Beriah. These 4 were the sons of Shimei. Jahath was the head, and Zizah the second. But since Jeush and Beriah did not have many sons, they were counted as one paternal house, with one area of responsibility. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel, 4. The sons of Amram were Aaron and Moses. But Aaron was permanently set apart to sanctify the most holy, he and his sons, to offer sacrifices before Jehovah, to minister to him, and to pronounce blessings in his name always. As for Moses, the man of the true God, his sons were named among the tribe of the Levites. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eliezer. Of the sons of Gershom, Shebuel was the head. Of the descendants of Eliezer, Rehabiah was the head. Eliezer did not have other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah were very many. Of the sons of Izhar, Shelomith was the head man. The sons of Hebron were Jeriah the head, Amariah the second, Jahaziel the third, and Jekameam the fourth. The sons of Uzziel were Micah the head, and Ishiah the second. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushi. The sons of Mahli were Eleazar and Kish. Eleazar died, but he had no sons, only daughters. So the sons of Kish, their relatives, took them as wives. The sons of Mushi were Mahli, Eder, and Jeremoth, 3. These were the sons of Levi according to their paternal houses, the heads of the paternal houses, by those registered who were counted and listed by their names, and who carried out the work for the service of the house of Jehovah from 20 years old and up. For David had said,
Jehovah the God of Israel has given rest to his people, and he will reside in Jerusalem forever. Also, the Levites will not have to carry the tabernacle or any of its equipment for its service.
For according to the last instructions of David, the Levites from 20 years old and up were numbered. Their function was to assist the sons of Aaron for the service of the house of Jehovah, to be in charge of the courtyards, the dining rooms, the purification of every holy thing, and any work needed for the service of the house of the true God. They assisted with the layer bread, the fine flour for the grain offering, the wafers of unleavened bread, the griddle cakes, the mixed dough, and all measures of quantity and size. They were to stand morning by morning to thank and praise Jehovah, and likewise in the evening. They assisted whenever the burnt sacrifices were offered to Jehovah on the Sabbaths, the new moons, and during the festival seasons, according to the number required by the rules concerning them, doing so regularly before Jehovah. They also took care of their responsibilities toward the tent of meeting, toward the holy place, and toward their brothers the sons of Aaron, for the service of the house of Jehovah. Chapter 24. Now the divisions of the descendants of Aaron were these. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. However, Nadab and Abihu died before their father, and they did not have any sons. But Eleazar and Ithamar continued to serve as priests. David, along with Zadok from the sons of Eleazar and Ahimelech from the sons of Ithamar, made divisions of them for the office of their service. Since the sons of Eleazar had more headmen than the sons of Ithamar had, they divided them accordingly. The sons of Eleazar had 16 as heads of their paternal houses, and the sons of Ithamar had 8 as heads of their paternal houses. Further, they divided them by lots, the one group along with the other, for there were chiefs of the holy place and chiefs of the true God from both the sons of Eleazar and the sons of Ithamar. Then Shemaiah, the son of Nethanel, the secretary of the Levites, recorded their names before the king, the princes, Zadok the priest, Ahimelech the son of Abiathar, and the heads of the paternal houses of the priests and of the Levites, one paternal house being selected for Eleazar, and one being selected for Ithamar. The first lot came out to Jehoiarib, the second to Jedaiah, the third to Harim, the fourth to Seorim, the fifth to Malchijah, the sixth to Mijamin, the seventh to Hakkoz, the eighth to Abijah, the ninth to Jeshua, the 10th to Shechaniah, the 11th to Eliashib, the 12th to Jachim, the 13th to Huppah, the 14th to Jeshebeab, the 15th to Bilgah, the 16th to Immer, the 17th to Hezir, the 18th to Haphazez, the 19th to Pethahiah, the 20th to Jehezkel, the 21st to Jachin, the 22nd to Gamal, the 23rd to Delaiah, the 24th to Maaziah. These were their offices for their service when they would come into the house of Jehovah, according to the procedure set by their forefather Aaron, just as Jehovah the God of Israel had commanded him. And of the rest of the Levites, of the sons of Amram, there was Shubael. Of the sons of Shubael, Jediah. Of Rehabiah, of the sons of Rehabiah, Ishiah the head. Of the Izharites, Shelomoth. Of the sons of Shelomoth, Jahath. And of the sons of Hebron, Jeriah the head, Amariah the second, Jahaziel the third, Jekameam the fourth. Of the sons of Uzziel, Micah. Of the sons of Micah, Shamir. The brother of Micah was Ishiah. Of the sons of Ishiah, Zechariah. The sons of Merari were Malai and Mushai. Of the sons of Jaaziah, Beno. The sons of Merari, of Jaaziah, Beno, Shoham, Zachar, and Ibri. Of Malai, Eleazar, who did not have any sons. Of Kish, the sons of Kish, Jerahmeel. And the sons of Mushai were Malai, Eder, and Jeremoth. These were the sons of Levi, by their paternal houses. And they also cast lots, just as their brothers the sons of Aaron did, in the presence of King David, Zadok, Ahimelech, and the heads of the paternal houses of the priests and of the Levites. Regarding the paternal houses, the head one was just as his younger brother. Chapter 25. Further, David and the chiefs of the groups for the service separated some of the sons of Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun to serve by prophesying with the harps, the stringed instruments, and the cymbals. The list of the official men for this service was, of the sons of Asaph, Zachar, Joseph, Nethaniah, and Asherelah, the sons of Asaph under the direction of Asaph, who prophesied under the direction of the king. Of Jeduthun, the sons of Jeduthun, Gedaliah, Zeri, Jeshaiah, Shimei, Hashabiah, and Mattithiah, 6, under the direction of their father Jeduthun, who prophesied with the harp, thanking and praising Jehovah. Of Heman, the sons of Heman, Bechiah, Mattaniah, Uzziel, Shebuel, Jeremoth, Hananiah, Hanani, Eliathah, Gedaltai, Romamtiezer, Joshbekashah, Malothai, Hothir, and Mahazioth. All of these were sons of Heman, a visionary of the king in matters pertaining to the true God, to his glory. Thus the true God gave Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. All of these were under the direction of their father for singing at the house of Jehovah, with cymbals, stringed instruments, and harps for the service of the house of the true God. Under the king's direction were Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman. The number of them and their brothers who were trained in song to Jehovah, all experts, was 288. So they cast lots for their duties, the small and the great alike, the expert along with the learner. The first lot to come out belonged to Asaph for Joseph, the second for Gedaliah. He and his brothers and his sons were 12. The third for Zachar, his sons and his brothers, 12. The fourth for Izri, his sons and his brothers, 12. The fifth for Nethaniah, his sons and his brothers, 12. The sixth for Bechiah, his sons and his brothers, 12. The seventh for Jesharilah, his sons and his brothers, 12. The eighth for Jeshaiah, his sons and his brothers, 12. The ninth for Mattaniah, his sons and his brothers, 12. The 10th for Shimei, his sons and his brothers, 12. The 11th for Azarel, his sons and his brothers, 12. The 12th for Hashabiah, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 13th, Shubael, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 14th, Mattithiah, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 15th, for Jeremoth, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 16th, for Hananiah, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 17th, for Joshbekashah, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 18th, for Hanani, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 19th, for Malothai, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 20th, for Eliathah, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 21st, for Hothir, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 22nd, for Gedaltai, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 23rd, for Mahazioth, his sons and his brothers, 12. For the 24th, for Romamtiezer, his sons and his brothers, 12. Chapter 26. The divisions of gatekeepers were as follows. Of the Korahites, Meshelemiah the son of Koreh of the sons of Asaph. And Meshelemiah had sons, Zechariah the firstborn, Jediael the second, Zebediah the third, Jathniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Jehohanan the sixth, Elihoenai the seventh. And Obed-Edom had sons, Shemaiah the firstborn, Jehozabad the second, Joah the third, Sakar the fourth, Nathanael the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, and Peelathai the eighth, for God had blessed him. And to his son Shemaiah there were sons born who were rulers of their paternal house, for they were mighty, capable men. The sons of Shemaiah, Othni, Rephael, Obed, and Elzabad. And his brothers Elihu and Semachiah were also capable men. All of these were of the sons of Obed-Edom. They and their sons and their brothers were capable men and qualified for the service, 62 belonging to Obed-Edom. And Meshelemiah had sons and brothers, 18 capable men. And Hosa of the sons of Merari had sons. Shimri was the head, for although he was not the firstborn, his father appointed him as head. Hilkiah the second, Tebaliah the third, Zechariah the fourth. All the sons and brothers of Hosa were 13. Of these divisions of the gatekeepers, the headmen had duties just as their brothers did, to minister at the house of Jehovah. So they cast lots, the small and the great alike, by their paternal houses, for the different gates. Then the lot to the east fell to Shelemiah. For Zechariah his son, a discreet adviser, they cast the lots, and his lot came out to the north. Obed-Edom had his to the south, and his sons were assigned the storehouses. Shuppim and Hosa had theirs to the west, near the Shaleketh gate, by the highway that goes up, guard group corresponding to guard group. There were 6 Levites to the east, to the north 4 each day, and to the south 4 each day, and for the storehouses 2 by 2. For the portico to the west there were 4 at the highway and 2 at the portico. These were the divisions of the gatekeepers from the sons of the Korahites and of the Merarites. As regards the Levites, Ahijah was in charge of the treasuries of the house of the true God, and the treasuries of the things made holy. The sons of Ladan, the sons of the Gershonite belonging to Ladan, the heads of the paternal houses belonging to Ladan the Gershonite, Jehieli, and the sons of Jehieli, Zetham and his brother Joel. They were in charge of the treasuries of the house of Jehovah. From the Amramites, the Izharites, the Hebronites, and the Uzzielites, Shebuel, son of Gershom, son of Moses, was a leader in charge of the storehouses. As regards his brothers, of Eliezer there was Rehabiah his son, Jeshaiah his son, Joram his son, Zichri his son, and Shelomoth his son. This Shelomoth and his brothers were in charge of all the treasuries of the things made holy, which King David, the heads of the paternal houses, the chiefs of the thousands and of the hundreds, and the chiefs of the army had made holy. From the wars and from the spoil they had made things holy to maintain the house of Jehovah. Also all that Samuel the seer, Saul the son of Kish, Abner the son of Ner, and Joab the son of Zeruiah had made holy. Whatever anyone made holy was put in the care of Shelomith and his brothers. Of the Izharites, Kenaniah and his sons were assigned outside administrative duties as officers and as judges over Israel. Of the Hebronites, Hashabiah and his brothers, 1,700 capable men, were over the administration of Israel in the region west of the Jordan, for all the work of Jehovah and for the king's service. Of the Hebronites, Jerijah was the head of the Hebronites by line of descent of their paternal house. In the 40th year of David's kingship, they were sought out, and mighty, capable men were found among them in Jazer in Gilead. And his brothers numbered 2,700 capable men, heads of the paternal houses. So King David assigned them over the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of the Manassites, for every matter of the true God and matter of the king. Chapter 27. This is the number of Israelites, the heads of the paternal houses, the chiefs of the thousands and of the hundreds, and their officers who ministered to the king in every matter of the divisions that would come in and go out month by month during all the months of the year. There were 24,000 in each division. Over the first division of the first month was Jeshobeam the son of Zabdiel, and 24,000 were in his division. Of the sons of Perez, he was the head of all the chiefs of the groups assigned to serve during the first month. Over the division of the second month was Dodai the Ahohite with his division, and Mikloth was the leader, and 24,000 were in his division. The chief of the third group assigned to serve during the third month was Benaiah the son of Jehoiada the chief priest, and 24,000 were in his division. This Benaiah was a mighty warrior of the 30, and in charge of the 30, and over his division was his son Ammizabad. The fourth for the fourth month was Asahel, Joab's brother, and his son Zebediah after him, and 24,000 were in his division. The 5th chief for the 5th month was Shamhuth the Israelite, and 24,000 were in his division. The 6th for the 6th month was Ira the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, and 24,000 were in his division. The 7th for the 7th month was Helez the Pelonite of the Ephraimites, and 24,000 were in his division. The 8th for the 8th month was Sibbecai the Hushathite of the Zeraites, and 24,000 were in his division. The 9th for the 9th month was Abiezer the Anathothite of the Benjaminites, and 24,000 were in his division. The 10th for the 10th month was Meharai the Netophathite of the Zeraites, and 24,000 were in his division. The 11th for the 11th month was Benaiah the Pirathonite of the sons of Ephraim, and 24,000 were in his division. The 12th for the 12th month was Heldai the Netophathite of Othniel, and 24,000 were in his division. These were the leaders of the tribes of Israel. Of the Reubenites, Eliezer the son of Zichri was leader. Of the Simeonites, Shephatiah the son of Maacah. Of Levi, Hashabiah the son of Kemuel. Of Aaron, Zadok. Of Judah, Elihu, one of David's brothers. Of Issachar, Omri the son of Michael. Of Zebulun, Ishmaiah the son of Obadiah. Of Naphtali, Jeremoth the son of Azriel. Of the Ephraimites, Hoshea the son of Azaziah. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel the son of Pedaiah. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh in Gilead, Iddo the son of Zechariah. Of Benjamin, Jaasiel the son of Abner. Of Dan, Azarel the son of Jeroham. These were the princes of the tribes of Israel. David did not count those 20 years of age and under, because Jehovah had promised to make Israel as many as the stars of the heavens. Joab the son of Zeruiah had started to take the count, but he did not finish, and God's anger came against Israel because of this, and the number was not entered into the account of the history of the times of King David. Over the treasuries of the king was Asmaveth the son of Adiel. Jonathan the son of Uzziah was over the storehouses in the fields, in the cities, in the villages, and in the towers. Over the field workers who cultivated the soil was Ezri the son of Caleb. Shimei the Ramathite was over the vineyards. Over the produce of the vineyards for the wine supplies was Zabdi the Shifmite. Over the olive groves and the sycamore trees in the Shephelah was Baal-Hanan the Gederite. Over the oil supplies was Joash. Over the herds that grazed in Sharon was Shitrai the Sharonite, and Shaphat the son of Adlai was over the herds in the valley plains. Over the camels was Obil the Ishmaelite. Over the donkeys was Jediah the Meronothite. Over the flocks was Jaziz the Hagrite. All of these were the chiefs of King David's property. Jonathan, David's nephew, was an adviser, a man of understanding and a secretary, and Jehiel the son of Hachmoni looked after the king's sons. Ahithophel was an adviser to the king, and Hushai the Archite was the king's friend. After Ahithophel there were Jehoiada the son of Benaiah, and Abiathar, and Joab was chief of the king's army. Chapter 28. David then congregated all the princes of Israel to Jerusalem, the princes of the tribes, the chiefs of the divisions ministering to the king, the chiefs of thousands and the chiefs of hundreds, the chiefs of all the property and livestock of the king and of his sons, together with the court officials and every mighty and capable man. Then King David rose to his feet and said,
"Hear me, my brothers and my people. It was my heart's desire to build a house as the resting place for the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, and as the footstool of our God, and I made preparations to build. But the true God told me, 'You will not build a house for my name, for you are a man of wars, and you have shed blood.' However, Jehovah, the God of Israel, chose me out of all the house of my father to become king over Israel forever. for he chose Judah as leader, and of the house of Judah my father's house, and of my father's sons I was the one whom he approved, to make me king over all Israel. And of all my sons, for Jehovah has given me many sons, he chose my son Solomon to sit on the throne of the kingship of Jehovah over Israel. He said to me, Your son Solomon is the one who will build my house and my courtyards, for I have chosen him as my son, and I will become his father. I will firmly establish his kingship forever, if he resolutely observes my commandments and my judicial decisions, as he is now doing. So I say before the eyes of all Israel, Jehovah's congregation, and in the ears of our God, carefully observe and search for all the commandments of Jehovah your God, so that you may possess the good land, and pass it on as a permanent inheritance to your sons after you. And you, Solomon my son, know the God of your father, and serve him with a complete heart and with a delightful soul. For Jehovah searches through all hearts, and he discerns every inclination of the thoughts. If you search for him, he will let himself be found by you. But if you leave him, he will reject you forever. See now, for Jehovah has chosen you to build a house as a sanctuary. Be courageous and go to work.
David then gave to his son Solomon the architectural plan of the porch and of its houses, its storerooms, its roof chambers, its inner rooms, and the house of the propitiatory cover. He gave him the architectural plan of everything that had been conveyed to him through inspiration for the courtyards of Jehovah's house, for all the dining rooms around it, for the treasuries of the house of the true God, and for the treasuries of the things made holy. Also for the divisions of the priests and of the Levites, for all the duties of the service of Jehovah's house, and for all the utensils of the service of Jehovah's house. Also for the weight of the gold for all the utensils for the different services, the weight of all the utensils of silver, and for all the utensils for the different services. Also the weight for the gold lampstands and their gold lamps, the weight of the different lampstands and their lamps, and the weight of the silver lampstands, for each lampstand and its lamps according to its use. Also the weight of the gold for the tables of the layer bread, for each table, as well as the silver for the tables of silver, for the forks, the bowls, the pitchers of pure gold, and the weight of the small gold bowls, for each small bowl, and the weight of the small silver bowls, for each small bowl. He also gave the weight for the refined gold for the incense altar, and for the representation of the chariot, namely the cherubs of gold that spread their wings out and overshadow the ark of the covenant of Jehovah. David said,
The hand of Jehovah was upon me, and he gave me insight to put all the details of the architectural plan in writing.
Then David said to his son Solomon,
Be courageous and strong, and go to work. Do not be afraid or be terrified, for Jehovah God, my God, is with you. He will not desert you or abandon you, but he will be with you until all the work for the service of Jehovah's house is finished. And here are the divisions of the priests and of the Levites for all the service of the house of the true God. You have willing, skilled workers to perform every kind of service, as well as the princes and all the people who will carry out all your instructions.
Chapter 29. King David now said to all the congregation,
My son Solomon, the one whom God has chosen, is young and inexperienced, and the work is great. For it is not a temple for man, but for Jehovah God. And I have spared no effort to prepare for the house of my God, providing the gold for the gold work, the silver for the silver work, the copper for the copper work, the iron for the iron work, the timbers for the timber work, onyx stones and stones to be set with mortar, mosaic pebbles, every kind of precious stone, and alabaster stones in great quantity. Moreover, because of my delight in the house of my God, there is also my private treasure of gold and silver that I am giving to the house of my God, in addition to all that I have prepared for the holy house, including 3,000 talents of gold from Ophir and 7,000 talents of refined silver for coating the walls of the houses, the gold for the gold work and the silver for the silver work, and for all the work to be done by the craftsmen. Now who volunteers to come forward today with a gift in hand for Jehovah?
So the princes of the paternal houses, the princes of the tribes of Israel, the chiefs of thousands and of hundreds, and the chiefs of the business of the king came forward voluntarily. And they gave to the service of the house of the true God 5,000 talents of gold, 10,000 derricks, 10,000 talents of silver, 18,000 talents of copper, and 100,000 talents of iron. Whoever had precious stones gave them to the treasury of the house of Jehovah, under the care of Jehiel the Gershonite. The people rejoiced over making these voluntary offerings, for they made the voluntary offerings to Jehovah with a complete heart, and David the king also rejoiced greatly. Then David praised Jehovah before the eyes of all the congregation. David said,
May you be praised, O Jehovah, the God of Israel, our Father, throughout all eternity. Yours, O Jehovah, are the greatness and the mightiness and the beauty and the splendor and the majesty. For everything in the heavens and on the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Jehovah. You are the one exalting yourself as head over all. The riches and the glory are from you, and you rule over everything. And in your hand there are power and mightiness, and your hand is able to make great and to give strength to all. And now, O our God, we thank you and praise your beautiful name. And yet, who am I, and who are my people, that we should be in a position to make voluntary offerings like this? For everything is from you, and we have given to you what comes from your own hand. For we are foreign residents in your presence, and settlers, just like all our forefathers. For our days on the earth are like a shadow, without hope. O Jehovah our God, all this wealth that we have prepared to build for you a house for your holy name is from your own hand, and it all belongs to you. I well know, O my God, that you examine the heart, and that you take pleasure in integrity. In the uprightness of my heart, I have voluntarily offered all these things, and I am overjoyed to see your people who are present here make voluntary offerings to you. O Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our forefathers, keep these inclinations and thoughts in the hearts of your people forever, and direct their hearts to you. And give a complete heart to my son Solomon, so that he may observe your commandments, your reminders, and your regulations, and do all these things, and build the temple for which I have made preparation.
David then said to all the congregation,
Now praise Jehovah your God.
And all the congregation praised Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, and bowed low and prostrated themselves to Jehovah and to the king. And they continued to offer sacrifices to Jehovah and to offer up burnt offerings to Jehovah on the following day: 1,000 young bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 male lambs, and their drink offerings. They offered sacrifices in great number for all Israel. They continued eating and drinking before Jehovah on that day with great rejoicing. And for a second time they made Solomon the son of David king, and anointed him before Jehovah as leader, and also Zadok as priest. And Solomon sat on Jehovah's throne as king in place of David his father, and he was successful, and all the Israelites were obedient to him. All the princes, the mighty warriors, and also all the sons of King David submitted themselves to Solomon the king. And Jehovah made Solomon exceedingly great before the eyes of all Israel, and bestowed on him royal majesty such as no king over Israel ever had before. Thus David the son of Jesse reigned over all Israel, and the length of his reign over Israel was 40 years. In Hebron he reigned for 7 years, and in Jerusalem he reigned for 33 years. And he died at a good old age, satisfied with long life, wealth, and glory, and his son Solomon became king in his place. As for the history of King David, from beginning to end, it is written among the words of Samuel the seer, Nathan the prophet, and Gad the visionary, together with all his kingship, his mightiness, and the events of the times involving him and Israel and all the surrounding kingdoms.